Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, 8:30 a.m., March 8th. Let's begin by pulling up our news for today. And let's take a peek here. So we had some news here at 8:30. We know that we have inventory reports today at 10:30, and we have wholesale inventories at 10. So I will expect a fairly choppy opening. Remember, we are considering not even trading Wednesdays, but I still do want to be watching them. I like having the screen time, even if it means I do nothing. I like having the screen time because part of screen time for me is learning. Sorry, I just got a text. That's part of the screen time for me is learning how to be patient and not overtrade. So let's get right to the homework. I definitely want to get both of them in today. I want to get S&P and crude oil, so I'm not going to do a review of yesterday's trading. We moved the levels over last night. Value area high, value area low, and VPOC have been adjusted already so that they coincide with yesterday's value area high, value area low, and VPOC. Okay, low, value area low, VPOC, value area high. Overnight high has already been plotted, and at the time that we did that last night, this was overnight low. We see that it is further shifted down, and this is currently overnight low. We're trading very close to that right now. Inventory is 100% net short. Close of day was here yesterday. Every trade, with the exception of God knows, I don't know, 4. Everything happened below yesterday's close. We are 100% net short, 98% net short. Certainly looking to get a correction here this morning. Again, that doesn't seem to work as well in crude as it does in the S&P, but that is the theory. Let us. I was saying yesterday I'm going to start plotting overnight VPOC on the charts, and the way I'm going to do it. Oh, and there's another change I need to show you here today. The way I'm going to plot overnight VPOCs is going to be a dashed and dotted orange line, same color as the swing high and swing low. Okay, so let's just make sure that I did that right. Perfect. One other change you're going to note on the charts: swing highs and swing lows are now orange in color on crude oil. They will also become orange in color on the S&P. I just didn't have a chance to go back and do that. Let's take a look at some homework. Currently trading 52.54. Let's bring in our 60-minute chart for crude. 52.54. So let's take a brief look. We did remove some levels last night as well. We looked to see if there were levels that we traded through that we thought needed to come off the chart. So we did. What's left on the chart are the levels that we wanted to leave on the chart. We also see that yesterday's trading certainly remains in the micro composite, so we're going to move them over. Let's scroll up here. Here is where we're currently trading. We're getting dangerously close to the bottom end of this composite, and so we need to pay attention. So first thing I'm going to look at is where are we trading in relation to our distributions. Okay, so whether we use that as the distribution, or this as the distribution, or this as the distribution. We have 3 low volume nodes up here that we can be paying attention to and should be paying attention to. And what's nice, every one of them have a level around them that that designate them. They don't necessarily designate it as a low volume node. For example, this swing and this swing are both right in this low volume area. This former VPOC, overnight VPOC, right near this low volume area. And then once we get below, we do have our high volume node marked off here at the, I forget what number that was, but we have it marked off. Let's see what number that is. At 52.70. Sorry, 1 second. One second. Okay. So all of the low volume nodes that we need are marked off. The high volume node is marked off, and then we start trailing down pretty good from there. So let's draw out our first hypothesis. And again, we're starting it right around, well, we were right around 54. So hypo 1 is going to be an open, test overnight low, hold, hopefully with divergence, give us a chance to coat long and start coming to test overnight VPOC and this, what is now a current VPOC, current naked VPOC on the, I'm sorry, this former VPOC on the chart is not naked. Once we get to here, we're going to look to see if we get resistance and push back down through overnight low, maybe slow down here a little bit, through overnight low, and then drift. From what I can tell, if we get below here, if we get below this 52.40, 52.38, let's be exact, 52.38 number, if we get below there, it looks to me as if we got some room to fall. So we're going to be paying very close attention to that. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't be willing to go long with a proper setup here. So even here, if we get overnight low, if we breach overnight low a little bit and sets up with a nice BBs, we would still be willing to go long here, but we would have to use this as our stop. We really wouldn't want to have our stop somewhere down here because there's nothing to tell us that once we break here that we wouldn't get here. So we're going to want tight stops if we take any longs using this what seems to be former value area high or low as as support. So we're going to call this one hypo 1. All right, hypo 2. Open, push up towards overnight VPOC, fail at overnight VPOC, come down to this former VPOC, chop around this high volume node, push down, maybe even get a nice little short setup there, and then ultimately come back to test low of overnight low, and what would currently with this drawing be low of day. See if we can't break below. Again, what would be nice would be some consolidation here. Move down, move back up, giving us a short opportunity. And at that point, our profit target is going to be down. We might scale, but we're certainly going to be targeting the bottom end of these micro composites, which puts us right at 52 even and 51.95. Below there, we're going to have to take a little, we'll change the chart in a minute to take a look at it, or at least move the chart. That's going to be hypo number 2. Hypo number 3. Hypo number 3 is going to be an open, push right through overnight low, chop, hopefully see overnight low act as resistance, come test down here. Love to see that hold a support and begin settling into a range towards the bottom end. And then ultimately what that could do, depending on where that range happens, what we could start seeing is we can start seeing volume build up here and then trail off towards the bottom, starting to build another distribution if that were to happen. So we're going to pay attention for that as well. Let's move this chart a little bit. Let's change this. So here again, if we get below here, if we get below 51.95, we really have nothing till 51.26. And if I scroll backwards in time, last time we were there, there's no level there. We just kind of traded right through it. We have a former VPOC that I guess we could throw on the chart just so that we have some reference back here. Another former VPOC a little lower, but that we have this swing down here, so that extra VPOC doesn't really help us. That 51.50 former VPOC is the only thing here. We have a micro composite value area high. Maybe we can plot that on there. Yeah, I mean, right. Couple of VPOCs overlapping here, 51.70. See, we're all the way back in this micro composite, but I don't know that the market has that good of a memory that it's going to be that it's going to be, referencing points from back then. Honestly, we're just going to have to wait to see what happens when we get in there. Okay, that is the morning's homework for oil. Let's pull up the S&P. And first things first, just going to adjust my value area low, value area high, VPOC from yesterday. Now I'm going to adjust overnight low, overnight high. Okay. Now, let's go over to real quick. So close of day here was here. We've been mostly beneath it, just came above it recently. Inventory is certainly still net short, but looks like we have corrected most of that. We will not be using that to skew our bias this morning. Let's bring in our hourly chart. Let me see what time. Oh, perfect. Plenty of time. Let me see what time we got here. All right, so let's take a look at what's happened here in the S&P. And throughout the day, I'm going to switch these swings over to orange. And the reason for it that somebody pointed out to me last night was by switching these to orange, it allows the VPOCs to be their own color. And VPOCs are definitely the things we're watching for most. So I think actually it will make our charts a little bit easier to read. All right, so what we've done here, S&P continue. We've been rising. Every time we'd rise, we'd balance. We'd rise, we'd balance. We'd rise. We have not balanced. Take a look at the nice P-shaped profile at the upper end here. Okay, kind of giving us a little bit of a warning that we were going to see a reversal. So we've had a P-shaped profile. We had another P-shaped profile 2 days ago, double distribution, and yesterday what looks to be a fairly nice profile. Price being accepted right here, certainly skewed to the downside towards the close. We're currently trading 23.67, so we're right kind of where we were. Right around where we were at the close yesterday. So we see that we had a pretty decent range overnight, all the way down to 23.59.50. This high volume node here in this micro composite. But what we're going to look for now, we can't draw a micro composite around this trading because this is not balanced. This is price discovery. Okay, this is vertical trading, not horizontal trading. So we can't really draw a micro composite around here. But what we're going to watch for is, looks like currently we're going to be opening inside value, which automatically means inside range, because the value area is always within the range of the day. So we're opening inside value, inside range, underneath the overnight high. So our first hypothesis here is going to be, let's put our marker here at 23.67. So our first hypothesis is going to be open, test overnight high, fail, turn down, get through, maybe bounce here at overnight low. Actually, you know what a nice setup would be is exactly this. A test of overnight high, a move to overnight low, no, without divergence, just pushing away, coming into value area low and VPOC of yesterday. They're right near each other, setting up a nice short setup to potentially come in and break overnight low, at which point we would look to move down towards this micro composite VPOC, excuse me, at 23.62 quarter. And once we get to that micro composite VPOC, we're going to see if this can hold, possibly bounce off, give us another potential short opportunity. As long as we're not getting our positive divergences, give us another potential short opportunity to come and test overnight low. I think the extreme of this move, in my opinion, would be somewhere around the value area low and this swing off of this micro composite. So down here, it looks to be about what, 57.50. Yep. We're going to call this hypo 1. Okay, hypo 2. Open. Same basic concept, but never even get to overnight high to start with. Make our way down. Test overnight low or test microcomposite epoch. Any one of these can give us a positive divergence and a long setup to try to get back through overnight high up towards value area high of yesterday. See if this holds. This would be a nice potential long setup if we can get a move. When we get to overnight high, it will be great if we can consolidate a little bit. So on this pullback, we have good reason to go long here. And then ultimately looking for a push up to this swing and former VPOC right here. And that would be at 74.75. We're actually going to draw that level on our chart because it was barely touched. And I'd like to keep that on here. And actually, this is supposed to be a swing high here. Hang on. All right, so there's a swing high right there. That's the high of yesterday. I got to put that on there. There we go. It looks like low of yesterday coincided with some other swing, so it automatically, it already seemed to be drawn on the chart. Okay, so this is going to be hypo number 2. Hypo number 3. I have to tell you, those are really the two that those are really the two I'm watching, and I'm looking for the upper end of the range to be about here. Lower end of the range at furthest to be about here. If we get outside of any one of those, we are going to flip our bias. So if we get below here, we're going to look for opportunities to try to take shorts with decent setups. And that would be taking short here, taking short here. If we come below there, because at that point we are expecting to come test this level here, the bottom of the micro composite. Okay, so just a quick recap. We're going to watch for failure at the overnight high or close to it for a move back down, heading towards micro composite epoch. And if we fail micro composite epoch, we're going to look for a move down towards overnight low. Failure there towards value area low of this micro composite. Okay. On the other hand, we're also going to be looking towards the top side for movement up to this VPOC 2374 3/4 and this swing 2374 1/4. Also yesterday's high. So we're going to look at this area also as a potential point of resistance. Again, we have to adjust as we see what happens. We'll determine whether we should be have a long bias or a short bias as the chart begins to trade. Anyone that will be watching, please do not hesitate to throw in an opinion. As I started saying yesterday, nothing you say can cost me money. Okay, number one, this is a demo account. Number two, any decisions I make are mine and mine alone. So you will never be held responsible for saying something like, "Oh, Eddie, I thought this was a long. I don't know why you think it's a short." And if for some reason I look at it again and say, "Hey, you know what? You might be right," and I change my bias, that is not your fault. If ultimately that trade doesn't go my way, or if I take a trade based on that, that is not your fault. That is completely on me. So I would love to have you guys when you are willing to. I'd love to have you guys in the conversation so that believe me, it'll actually help you learn better to be discussing it and talking about what you see versus just listening to what I'm saying, whether the trades are right or wrong. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause this just for a minute. I'll be back in actually just a few minutes as we get closer to the open. Which I'm going to have to check that when I'm done trading. I would not have any issue. I wouldn't eat it by itself. There's no way you'd get me to eat that chocolate on its own.
Yeah, but save your seeds. We don't eat their dark chocolate.
Well, I'm saying don't ever ask me to taste that chocolate on its own.
I'm not gonna ask you that.
That's not gonna happen. Actually, was mommy just yelling something? I thought I heard something. Okay. All right. So I was hoping to save you guys some of the boredom of watching me turn the lines from red to orange, but it seems like the recording started itself again at some point in there. So sorry for any of that you had to watch in silence. All right. So we're getting ready for the open. Yeah, we're about 4 minutes away. Let's do a quick recap. Quick recap of what we were watching for. Currently, we are trading 52.50. So it looks like we have come down from where we did our homework. I think we were, actually, no, we were pretty close to there. So 52.50. Remember, again, we are watching for overnight low as one potential support. If we get below overnight low, then the expectation is we are going to make our way down towards 52, even 51.95, and look to see if we can get a reversal over there. We are also on the opposite side. We're going to be watching for move back up to overnight VPOC right here, 5283, and then low volume nodes above that, all the way up to 5310. We're going to be watching to see what happens there. Remember, yesterday the number we were talking about, 5345, became our line in the sand, and you can see once we traded below it, we actually came back up to test it. Let me show you this on the other chart. We actually came back up to test it almost to the tick. If you look back at yesterday's trading, when we got below 53.45 down here, so here we tested, we didn't get to it here, bounced away, came through, finally broke 53.45, and then we turned back up, tested 53.51, pushed further below 45, and then came back up to test it almost to the tick, 53.44. Once we saw that hold as resistance, we had been of the belief that it's going to now start pushing down into lower distributions, and we see that's exactly what happened yesterday and overnight. When it happens overnight, unfortunately, there's not much we can do with it unless you're placing trades overnight, and you're certainly welcome to. But the expectation has been played out. Now we kind of just got to see what happens from here. So right now we do have positive divergence on the 610, but only on the 610. If we look at lows, this swing low to this swing low, looks like our overnight low is shifted down slightly. Okay. So not enough positive divergence for us to be looking for any type of long at the open. That could change. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. Will be great to get positive divergence for potential long setup at the overnight low. We also have our most recent consolidation levels. We have one back here that we're going to pay attention to, and we have one now that right now near overnight low that has been forming. So we're going to watch these two as dynamic levels that have formed through trading, not ones that we would have seen on our homework chart. So we'll definitely want to keep an eye on those as well. And at this point, any horizontal dashed line I see that's red, I'll just keep switching over to orange. I think I got them all. Okay, about 45 seconds to the open. Immediate push down right through open low. You can see the big sell orders here. These are all, in my opinion, those are orders that were placed saying that if they break, they want to start shorting, building up some more sell orders down here. Looks like we got a fair amount of traders short here. See if that ultimately leads to a push to the upside. All these people got to close their trades at some point, and if we see price start moving against them, we could see them push the price up if it starts going against them and they have to close out. Came back into this consolidation here, came back up into it and turned down. So we really got to see what's going to happen there. Let me bring back up my hourly chart here for a second. Okay, so you see we came down into this gap area. We touched right to 52.30-ish, 50.38. The only level we had in here. So we came, we touched it. It's holding right now. We really need right now. My bias is definitely skewed to the short side. To me, it looks as if we are going to look to see if we can't get a break below. We don't have any positive divergence on the BBs. You know, so we're not seeing anything to say that it's going to keep up here. Some buyers are starting to step in. If you were looking for an opening of the day trade, you actually had two of them here. You could have played off of, hey, wait a minute, hang on. That level from my homework chart is not appearing on this chart. Let me go see why. All right, let me show you what I mean. See this here? This 52.40. That should be. Oh, that's this dotted line. Never mind, it's there. It's good. Buyer stepping in right off this value area low or value area high, whatever this was. Yeah. So the only thing is some of these BBs are coming from overnight, but now if you look, BBs are all pointing down. So still skewed to the short side here. Definitely not looking for a long. If I think that's what you were telling me, and if that's the case, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, you can see this push back up into the consolidation happened quickly. You really would have had to have been ready for that. I was not. Nothing here set up for me. We run the risk of having this turn into a stair step type move down, and if that's the case, there's really very little trade opportunity for at least for me. But we'll watch to see what happens. We've gotten down below here. You know, at this point, we're watching for pullbacks up to VWAP into this most recent consolidation, potentially even pullbacks further towards the open of day. I think anything like that for us would constitute a potential short trade as long as these BBs don't show strong positive divergence. While this is happening, I can see the S&P is creating new highs overnight. Let's just adjust that. I'm just going to plot overnight VPOC. That's the wrong. Okay. For the S&P. So still drifting lower, no positive divergence on the BBs. You know, right now with the way things are looking, I think we'd be willing to start getting into a position if we get a move back up here. Can't get into a position at VWAP, at least I don't want to get into a position of VWAP. Low of day is currently 33. VWAP is 40. That only gives us a 7-tick move. Don't want to get caught up in the chop. Remember, today's Wednesday. We have inventories coming out, so won't be surprised to see some choppy trading. S&P continuing to push higher overnight. Still BB's pointed down. Nothing to say that we're looking for a reversal here. That's not to say it can't happen. If we were to get a reversal here, let's just throw something out here. If we were to get, oops, sorry, I didn't. Okay, yeah. All right, let me get my pen working again. Not sure why that happens. Oh, there's a move. There's a push up here. So BBs have turned up, but not to the extent where I believe they would show divergence if we were to ultimately make our move back down here. But don't want to get overly aggressive here. What we were about to draw and what is actually happening right now is what could happen is we could get a push up, start consolidating, create positive divergence on the BBs, and pull back down towards near this low, near this consolidation, and we would still be willing to take a long because of how close we are to this level here, but our stops would be very, very tight, right off of overnight low, maybe a couple of ticks below it. But I'm more interested right now with what's drawn out here. I'm more interested in looking for a potential short opportunity. We're 8 ticks off the low. Big offer. You know, I'm going to take my first one here. 2 big offers just stepped in. It's last few days when we've seen offers come in at the, oh wow, huge buy order. 160 contracts just bought. It would be great if we can see the offers push down here, because if they can eat up that order, this is actually what we saw yesterday, that when we were trading at current price, big offers would step in and push price down. So that's the only reason I took this trade ahead of, I really wanted to be up at least at 43 to get my 10-tick profit target at the low. But we have seen this, we've seen size step in, not that it's been sitting there and waiting, it came in when price got up there. We've seen that push price down over the last couple of days. So I'm keeping on a small position. I would be willing to add on to this position if we got higher. And what I'm watching for is as we come down, this 610, that chart of the 610, really, I'm not crazy about how those BBs look. So right now, we need to see in this move down, we need to see those BBs kind of turn back down with it, or we're going to then have positive divergence towards low of day. And if that's the case, we're going to close out our trade. And actually, the large offer that we saw looks like it has either been filled or pulled. So right now, I'm not nearly as excited about this one as I was. So there's a little push there. 1597 still looks really good, pointing downwards. All I'm watching right now is order flow. There we go. There's those big offers I was talking about right there. 2 of them came in right at the current price. Certainly, if I had more than one contract, I'd be looking to close out one of them right around here, which is why it would have needed to have that trade would have needed to have been at a better entry point. But still, all I'm doing right now is watching order flow. I'll scratch this trade if need be. They keep adding. They keep adding to these offers. They're doing it again. They were just trading the offer, but the contracts went up. It was happening right there again. Now, again, that could shift and change in a second. There it is again. Now we need to see them start hitting these bids and see what happens. All right, now it's decreasing a little. Now it's decreasing. I'm not even looking at the BBs right now. It has nothing to do with this trade. All right, I'm out. The bids here we're starting to do now. Let's talk about a potential long opportunity here. All right, because now the bids were starting to stack up, and we have positive divergence on 2 of the 3 BBs. So I would be willing now. Again, I'm watching order flow right now. That's all I'm doing. I know I'm at a level I'm willing to take a long at because of BBs, because of price point, because of where I would put my stop. Now the exact opposite is starting to happen here. We're starting to see bids add on while we trade the bid, and offers are going down. I am going to take a long, super tight stop here. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at 10 ticks. Only taking one contract. And again, I would be willing to scratch this if this order flow changes. And what we're looking for right now is when we're trading offer, we need to see these numbers go away, which right now, this is a pretty good stalemate. I might be at risk of churning here a little bit. That I need to keep that in mind. We have positive divergence on the BBs. Even if we were to now come and test the current low day, we would have our positive divergence. I would actually be willing to scale. I would not move my stop, but I would be willing to scale down. You know, let's say here, what's the low? 33, in at 35. But just gotta watch. We just saw those sellers step in again. 1597, still showing downward skew here. I'm going to take one more contract, and that's only because of my risk versus reward here. Positive divergence on the BBs. Positive divergence on the BBs. Great risk versus reward because I'm not moving my stop down. That second contract has a very, very low risk, where if these BBs hold, if this price level holds and we start turning our way back up, remember, we're going to look to ultimately test overnight high, current high a day, and then we talked about what potentially is above us. And I'm not saying that's going to work, but our setup here makes sense. Very, very low risk on the trade. I'm actually even considering taking my 3rd contract in right around here as well. In fact, I am going to. And once again, I'm not moving my stop down. I'm leaving my stop where it is. Maybe. Okay, I have no problem with that. Now, look, we still have positive divergence on these BBs, so we have to pay attention. But what we're seeing happening with order flow is we're seeing these people continue to push down. So they, unfortunately, where we started having our stalemate, it got me out of my original short. But we're still seeing these offers push down I still positive divergence. I'm actually going to go right back into this trade here. And again, tight stops. I don't care if I get 3 or 4 of these in a row wrong, because if the BBs hold, and we currently still have positive divergence, if the BBs hold, our reward is going to be much greater than our risk. I still don't like how these offers are. I probably should have waited to watch a little bit of order flow get in my favor before throwing those in. We're going to come right below these bids here. Nice bid just stepped up there, right at current price. Now we got to see them push these offers up. See here, we're trading the bid, but the contracts are going up. Now they just went down. There again, we traded them. They went up. There's another nice big bid stepping up. I'm just going to put some orders out so I have them, so I can move them around as I want to. Two of them are pretty close to where I want them to be. Well, actually, it's probably not true. So we have, let's take a look here. So also we have to keep an eye out on these BBs. We still do have positive divergence on the 610 and the 987. So we're going to have to watch to see if we lose that. But right now, first thing that has to happen is we need to get up through VWAP, through middle of the day, and then we can start seeing if we can break above overnight low and see if we can't start making our moves up towards the levels above us. In the homework, you heard us talking about how we don't want to take trades and put our stops in between here. That was before we saw these dynamic levels of the current low of day. So because we're getting lower lows but higher highs in the BBs, and we're able to keep tight stops off of these current lows, that's what's making these trades even potentially possible. What we wouldn't do is take our full 10 tick risk into this zone. Let me pull up our, give me 1 second. I'll get to see that. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this over here. So here is this previous swing, which is at 57. We're going to front run that to 54. And then we started talking about potentially seeing if we can't get up towards overnight VPOC at 83. Now, there's a very good chance we close our trade before we get up there, but we'll front run that one by 5 ticks since it's such a move away. We, depending on how aggressive we want it to be with this trade, we could put our second profit target not at this swing, but at below this high volume node, this swing in this VPOC. I made that mistake yesterday of falling in love with a congestion of levels and ignoring one. I'm not going to make that same mistake today, so I am going to leave a profit target here. The only debate that we will have, if it does start moving its way back up, that's right now this is a slow crawl. Really want to see some actual pushing in our favor. There's a nice buy stepping in with contracts coming to the bid at the current price. It's the opposite of what we've been seeing on the way. There just happened the offers. I don't know if you saw it. The offers just came in big time, and bids came in big time, and we started losing the offers. So that was potentially a nice little sign there for me. Another bids are adding contracts again here. We're trading both sides right now. Both sides are losing contracts. Offers just came in big. Offers just came in with over 100 contracts. Yeah, every time we're up here. Last time we were up here, and right now when we're up here and we're trying to buy, these sellers, these contracts on the offer continue to stay. They're happy to sell at this price level. So we really got to pay attention to that. Right now we have a lot of things happening over here, but nothing's happening over here. No trades are actually going off. You know, we're sitting at that it was 238 to 26, 24. Now it's starting to tick. Really want to see this trading on the offer. I want to see buyers trying to pay the spread, pay the offer, be aggressive. And at the same time, I want to see these sellers raise their price and kind of get out of the way. Not exactly what's happening right now. Still sellers are very happy to sell right here, 36 and 37. It looks we're down. Those contracts went down here. Still have a lot of people that could be in some short trades. And that's not the kind of push I'm hoping for. Come on. That is not what I'm looking for. I don't like the trade above VWAP, get right back below it. We're a little thin now on the offers, and that could change in an instant. We're a little thin on the offers, so I like that. But we got to see the bids come up. We got to see people adding contracts on the bid, and then we start trading the offers and the offers lifting. So we see people coming on the bid. We see people right now where they're adding to their bid size. But still, bids look thin right now. Bids definitely look thinner here than offers. At the near the current price, there's definitely more offers showing than bids showing. Now, again, that's not necessarily all that accurate, but that is what's visible right now. And right there, offer stepped in again. I'm going to close one of these at 5 ticks. Much smaller profit target than I like to shoot for, but I do want to lighten my risk here. All the BBs read just like we want them to, so I'm not closing my entire trade. Very tempted to close my second contract here, but I'm going to give it a chance to see what happens. So we saw a big buy come in. Bids just stepped up to over 100 at the current price. We just traded some down there. Let's see if we can add back on here. I want to see them add on. They're adding on offer, not adding on bid. All right, there we go. There was an add on to the bid, and they took down those offers. Now again, I want to see these offers go away, which they're just not doing. Oh, you know what? I wanted to change the colors on this. That's right. I don't know why it ever went back to what it was originally, but I'm going to take a second to do that. Do they have a brighter red? This might take a second to reload, so sorry about that. Last we looked at it, BB's still showing positive off the current low of day, so that's definitely a sign in our favor. The order flow is still showing that it looked like it was going to be tougher for the buyers to get it above the. There we go. That's better for me. Get it above this 40, 38, 39 was already holding. So right now, all we can do and all we are doing is just watching this order flow. We're certainly not at a level that would tell us it's time to go short because of the positive divergence. If we pushed further up, currently we're trading 38, low of day is 30. If we pushed further up, maybe we could start looking for a short. Right now, that wouldn't make sense because we're not expecting to break current low of day based on the BBs. Okay, now again, look, that can be at any point that can be wrong, but we're playing the percentages. We've seen this enough. We've watched it. Nice, a lot of buy stepping in here. A lot of buy stepping in here. I like that from the perspective that people also want to go long. I don't like that from the perspective that it's not moving this price to fuck up. So let's see if we can't get up out of here. All right, back to that 40. You're gonna have to get through there. Come on now. So I'm just keeping this order. I'm just controlling this order right now. Right now, I have not changed my profit target. But if at any point I want out of this trade, if I keep this below the current price and I then left click, that will automatically close my trade. But right now, I'm just kind of watching and waiting. Bids are adding on. We're trading offers. Okay. We have a big offer above us right there, 230 contracts. Let's see if we can't get to it and see if they're for real and see if our buyers feel like stepping in. If we can get above those, I wouldn't be surprised to see a stop run where this consolidation. I can't draw it for you right now because I have my mouse. Big sell just stepped in there. Big buys just came right back in. I'm sorry, big bids, not necessarily market buys. Bids just stepped in there right while we were at current price. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to step in while we're trading at the bid, not below the current bid. Right there. It just happened again. Now it happened on the offer side. Offers are stepping in. We know that there was larger offers up here before. If we can get through here, I think we have a nice little. Right there, bid stepped in again. At current price, bids came in and pushed up. Just happened again. Refreshing at the bid. Big sell right there, but you see they absorbed it. You saw the contracts go down and they added right back on. All right, I'm going to get rid of my second contract here, taking a 10 tick profit target, and we're going to hang on to this third one for now. And in the meantime, we are also going to be watching this overnight low as a potential point of resistance. Let's see what happens here. Do we get a setup to tell us it's time to get short? Do we get a pullback, giving us an opportunity to add on to our long? Let's go get our third profit target and just kind of have it handy. Actually, right now I don't need to do that. Since I only have one contract, I can close out my trade using my keyboard and leave my profit target there in case I want to keep my place in line. S&P opened. Right at overnight high. We tested yesterday's value area high right at the open with a few ticks below it. So watching this overnight high as a reason to potentially close out this trade. Just take our profit targets. You know, not a huge trade, but again, it's Wednesday. The chop is what's to be expected. Right now, my stop is at break even. I really have to do a better job remembering to take pictures of those hypotheses. I would love to, instead of having to go back now and look at my homework chart for the S&P, I would love to just have my hypotheses that I can take a quick look at and remind myself what I saw, because I trust what I'm seeing when I'm watching it, you know, when I'm doing the homework. But right now, you know, in the heat of it, as things are moving, it's hard for me to remember, okay, what did I say? What did I look at as far as levels and profiles and so on? But let me just take a quick look back at that chart here. Oh, I see. Okay. So currently we are, hang on, guys. I'm still watching here. This is potentially setting up for a nice short opportunity, okay? Because we are above 10 ticks away from the low of day, 14 ticks above the low of day. Still, buyers still stepping in though. So I'm going to leave my one cut. I'm definitely not looking for a short just yet. Let's go back to those looking at with the S&P. So yeah, we want to see if we can get above overnight high, upper end 74.75. We come back below overnight high. We want to see if overnight high will hold as resistance, and then we're looking for a push towards yesterday's VPOC and value area low. Okay, so we're currently trading below VWAP here. We opened, barely made any move up, immediately started coming down. Little quick settling here, right below overnight high. That was actually that could have been a decent entry. Yeah, let's wait to see what happens. Oil getting up above overnight low. It looks to me that buyers have been pretty aggressive. And although we've gotten to make a profit on this trade, I really would have liked to have seen this trade move further for the amount of buyers that we saw stepping in. Really consistently, we would see big buyers step in at the current price, and then would move maybe a tick or two. Big buyer step maybe a tick or two. Right, it just happened again right there. Big buyer stepped in. That one didn't even move at all. They got swallowed up. So I really would have liked to have seen this move further. Definitely does read as if the sellers are although they're letting price go up, it seems that the sellers are having an easier time keeping price from exploding out of here than the buyers are having in getting the price to push up. It seems like the buyers are having to use a lot of energy. As for our levels, we are sitting at overnight low. We are trading above VWAP, above middle of the day, kind of in a no man's land for us here. Order flow right now is the only tool we have that's really helping. Remember, we have consolidation right here and right here, but we would have to see how we get into those areas. Can't just I wouldn't just look to go short. in a move up there. I would really like to see how it happens. What we could be watching for here, if we get some consolidation, we see a turn down on the BBs where it would look like if we continue to push down. So let's draw that out. If we get some consolidation around here, while that's happening, the BBs start turning down, and then it would look like if we push down, the BBs would then break the current low, at least on 2 of the 3. We can start watching for a potential short setup, and certainly to get out of our last contract in this long trade. Okay, so S&P coming back up to test overnight low here. BBs are definitely skewed down. Looks like we would have negative divergence if we pushed up towards the current high a day. This, and then right underneath this swing and value area high. The 4181 is certainly showing positive, so that's not all 3 time frames, just 2 of them. And even the 2584 is questionable at negative divergence. There is a slight negative divergence there. Okay. I'm actually watching the order flow here on the S&P because I might be interested in looking for a potential short here. Now, those BBs are not reading. Yes, there was negative divergence on the 1597. There was negative divergence on the 2584. It's very, very slight on the 2584, and there's absolutely 0 negative divergence on the 4181. That's just showing strength. But the question is it potentially worth a 1 contract entry here with the eye on a move back in for a move down, and maybe even looking to add on to the trade if we come and do another test. I think that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to wait for to see if this is going to be a potential short opportunity. I'm going to wait for a move down, a retest, and if we get decent negative divergence at that point, I will then actually take a trade. Oil in the meantime has just kind of slowly drifted its way down. I think that we might be seeing the beginning of that push down, beginning of sellers now stepping in and buyers running out of energy to continue to push this higher. Not seeing anyone adding on to the bid here. We're at 49, so the bid just disappeared. It became offer. Big sell. Now, mind you, we still have positive divergence off of the low here. So I would be just as likely, I'm not crazy about having my stop here at break even because I like the idea. In fact, I'm going to move this stop down below the current low of day because right now, if we were to push down here and the BBs continue to show positive divergence, I'd be more interested in taking a long there than I would in taking a short here. Meaning, I wouldn't want to be shorting if we came down here. So why would I want to close my position? So as long as we hold that positive divergence, we'll look to add into our trade. We'll look to add into our trade on a push back down. S&P came off the high, so that did set up the way it moved the way we thought it could. See where we've come down to 70 3/4. So about 7 ticks, right? So 69/4. Okay. So you see the S&P, we've actually come back up the test, and we've even further lost negative divergence on the 2584. So definitely not adding confidence in wanting to take a short up here. Okay, so also on oil, I'm paying close attention to the BBs. Just want to make sure that if we pull down, that we're not losing our positive divergence. You know, you can see the 610 has turned down, but still a long way to go to get back to where we were at this previous low. All right, and that's not to say it can't happen as price moves down there. So it's something that I just want to be aware of. It's like buyers step back in. You know, the other nice thing that we're seeing for our current long trade is right now, the 610 had this little move down. Let me stretch this out a little. The 610 had this little move down here, but it looks like if we were to now come back to test this current high, that 610 would not have negative divergence. None of the other ones do. Certainly the 987 and 1597 continue to show strength. So if buyers can step back in here and start making a push, it looks like we can get further into testing high of day, and then we could start seeing at what point we think this move can go to. Currently, we have our profit target ahead of overnight VPOC. We got a lot of levels to get through in order to get. Wait a minute, that's not overnight VPOC. Oh, overnight VPOC shifted since we did our homework, so that's going to adjust my profit target. So overnight VPOC is 74. We have high volume node at 69. So I'm actually going to front run all of these. I'm going to come in at 62. Ahead of this low volume node here, ahead of this former VPOC, ahead of this swing, well ahead of overnight VPOC. And depending on how things form and the BBs and so on, I would even be willing potentially to close this trade right here. We'd have to just assume, we have to watch to see what happens in the BBs before. We have to see what happens to the BBs before we make the decision. Once again, we tested overnight low, but we're testing it with no negative divergence. Now, look, the level itself could easily be enough to stop us from moving up. We are not the only people looking at overnight low. I would tell you almost anybody trading futures that's trading it off of a chart, almost anybody is watching overnight low as a potential short opportunity. Still no negative divergence on the 987, 1597, 610. Also would not show negative divergence at a retest of the high. S&P breaking highs. Excuse me. Good job not taking that short in the S&P. Now, what we're going to be watching for right now in the S&P, pullbacks into this consolidation, using this swing, value area high, looking at both of those, looking at all that to potentially act as support, because to the upside on the S&P, if you remember, we were looking at 74 3/4 right here. Now, the flip side of this would be if we fail to make it there and we turn down. We actually saw this happen on oil yesterday, and I fumbled it up a little bit. If we fail to make it up here and we turn down and then we start seeing strong negative divergence up here, it's going to have to adjust how we consider getting into a long on a pullback versus holding off on the long and trying to get into a short on a move back up. So definitely have to pay attention to what the BBs are doing if we don't get up here. But unfortunately, there was really no. For me, there wasn't any long trade to be had. Maybe this pullback when we saw that there was no negative divergence. Maybe this pullback here towards what was currently middle of the day overnight high and VWAP. But right now we are pushing. Meantime, oil sitting right here, overnight low. That's still the level that we want to get away from. We can see buyers continue adding onto the right there. They took some away, added right back on here. So it looks like buyers are still willing to come up in price to buy. Sellers are adding on as well, but sellers are not lowering price, right? So that's the difference here. This right now shows more strength from buyers than sellers. Again, that can change in an instant, but from what you're watching with order flow, buyers are the ones moving price up, willing to pay higher to get into trades. Sellers are selling here. They're not driving price down, but they're happy to sell right here at that 52.47, while buyers have been stepping up, coming up to trade to 52.46. They just did it again. Now there you go. Now some sellers stepped in up there. Oh, just flipped it. Now the buyers are back in. And see, so you have to be a big offer just came in there. Sorry, big seller came in there. Got it up to over 100 contracts. So, you have to be careful when you're watching this order flow. It could get very, you could lull yourself to sleep with some of this, and you can easily overread the information. So you want to be careful with that. Right now, forget order flow or not, we need to see this get above 47. I'm tired of seeing 47 hold as a top. So S&P failed to get to either of these swings. It's actually the higher swing that we're looking at as one of the extremes of the move. 47's bid now. So there we go. So we just traded 48. Still, the BBs show no negative divergence, nothing to tell us to want to close out of our trade here. I'm getting close to where I'm going to have to head out of here. So what I would do in a case like that is put in a profit target, put in a stop loss, and just kind of let things go. There we go. There's some buying right there. Just moving my stop up a little bit. I'll leave it at break even for now. That's actually what we're going to do. So current price 47. I got 14 ticks there, 15 ticks there. Okay, so basically I'm leaving my stop at break even. I'm leaving my profit target where it is. Whichever one of those happen first is fine for me at this point, since I'm not going to be in front of the screen. If I am in front of the screen, what I would be looking for would be if the BBs start turning down and we come back up towards whatever the current high a day is, like this one right here. If we start coming back up towards there, but they're still negative, and then we form negative divergence in the BBs, I would start watching to potentially close my trade up there. But since I'm not going to be in front of the screen anymore, we're just going to leave this the way it is, and we're going to let it play out. All right. If you guys have any questions, as always, text, email, call, whatever access you have for me, feel free to use it. If not, I'll try to jump on again tonight for a little bit, and if not, then I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, guys, have a good day.